What's going on, guys? I just want to make a quick video here today about something that I've heard from some friends that I know, that are close friends, working in a similar industry, as well as just something I'm seeing all over the internet. And that's this worry that you hear from people that oh no, like AI, artificial intelligence, is going to take all our jobs. Like, oh, AI is going to take my job, man. Oh, what are we going to do? We're going to adapt like we always did. I know I just I hit it right there, right? Like I just went right ahead and went in. But be real with yourself. I mean, we've always adapted. So good. If AI takes your job, good. And that just means that we need to develop a different way of doing things. Maybe a different skill set, right? And I'll give you an example here, right? I see it a lot. Funny enough, because you think about it with technical jobs, right? Like computer programming, things like that. I have a lot of friends that are in the music or they do music composition or sound design, right? So sound design is making the sound effects, like real sounds, or a lightsaber in Star Wars. You got to make up a sound for that. And even they're worried about it too, right? Music for video games and film. I know a lot of people who do that, and they're having conversations about, because there actually is AI and software that's making AI music, right? And you think, okay, well, that's kind of crazy. AI is taking over art too, and you can see that with different pictures and stuff online made by art or made by AI. And it was kind of interesting to me. I shared a piece of AI music in a group chat that had a bunch of other music composers for video games and film inside it, right? And one of them was oh man, AI is gonna take our jobs, and then the other one was I can't believe you just shared that, in our group, right? Amongst the other composers here, this and that, and especially after one of our friends was saying that they were worried about AI taking our jobs, and I couldn't help but think they forgot that I also write music and have worked on projects, creating music for video game clients and film clients who wanted soundtracks, right? And I couldn't help but think well, someone who does the same thing as you, the same kind of art, music for those mediums, shared it in our group chat. And sure, I mean, I could sit all day and be worried about that. Oh no, AI is going to take my job. But what's the point? I mean, it's going to happen, right? Well, at the same time, maybe it will happen, right? Let's just go down that rabbit hole for a second. Especially with art. Maybe that's the end all be all. There's going to be no more artists in the world. That'll be kind of sad. And really, I think most people value true human connection, right? Person to person. And I know they're trying to make AI more real and blah, blah, blah. And sometimes it might, quote unquote, replace human connection. But I really don't think that's the case. I mean, people are always going to value community, real people, connections in person, not AI, and not over Zoom calls. I mean, that was one of the starts to all this too, was Discord and Zoom calls, and you can't really be next to a person kind of joking around, pat them on the back, hit their shoulder. This is just not that same level of human connection, which is something that we require biologically. I know that was a bit of a tangent there, but the best art is going to be made by humans, always. And sure, maybe AI can do really well in certain things, right? And I'm sure AI will make some great music and some great art. But it's not going to do you any good. This is really like a life lesson outside of AI. It's not going to do you any good to just sit and worry about it, think about it too much, be afraid, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's the same thing as like feeling stress or resentment, not forgiving somebody. I just made a video about that the other day about forgiveness, right? It's like if you just keep holding on to that, you can feel like the cortisol, like the stress hormone in your body, and it's just gonna mess with your health. It's gonna mess with your mental health. It's gonna mess with your bodily health, because these things get stored in your body. You're gonna feel more tense, more anxiety, and really, I think it ages you faster if you just hold on to these things, worry about these things all the time. It would do you much better. It would do you much better to chill out and roll with the punches, roll with what's going on. Because look, people don't want to believe this, right? We've been brought down. And I'm not saying this in like, oh, we've been brought down, not in a victim way, right? Because that's probably another moral to this video, right? Is you're not a victim. Whatever circumstance you're in, whatever circumstance you come from, it's not going to do you any good to act like a victim. Never, never. You have to work with what you've got. People from all different positions succeed, right? So what I want to say here is, oh, AI is going to take my job. Okay, well, what are you going to do about it? Good. What are you going to figure out to roll with the punch there? Right? Because you're going to have to adapt. And this is what I was going to say, right? Like, we almost have like this high level of playfulness, creativeness. Like when we're kids, we almost feel like superheroes, right? And we sort of get filtered down by, whether it's the school system, society, people telling you like, oh, maybe you can't do that. Maybe you should be a doctor instead, or blah, blah, blah. Like all these different things, they sort of suck some of that creativity out of you as a person. And it makes you less of a free thinker, right? And so what this means for you, right, is if you're rolling with the punches, how are you going to adapt to this, right? Like you can't just feel sorry for yourself and not get anywhere, so what I'm trying to say is we were all badass at birth, and maybe some of us more than others, you had some of that sucked out of us. So you need to come back to that place of knowing that you're a badass, knowing that you're awesome, so that you can have this high level of abundance in your life. Like that you're going to be able to make it through, right? Again, it's like that saying, like people say, well, what if this happens and then I don't know what I'm going to do? You say, even if this happens, I'm still going to figure it out. Even if that happens, it's going to be fine. Good. I like the challenge. We're going to make stuff happen. We're going to excel. We're going to crush it. And that way you can just still have the best life, no matter what happens. Because you've got that high energy. You've got that positive energy. And you can actually channel that into the best version of yourself. I mean, that's something that I go back to a lot in my videos, is being on that wavelength, right? Super positive, super high frequency, because you're only going to attract more of that. And if you're just thinking like, oh, AI is going to take my job, oh, I'm worried, overthink, stressed, you're just going to attract more of that. And if you could remove that from your thinking, right? And get on that higher wavelength of gratitude, love, like showing love to others. It's going to take you so far, and you're going to be fine. I promise. You got this.